I don't mind either way.
I'll do it. All right.
Okay, cool.
So I just read the parts that say your name. Well, it won't get confusing at all.
Yeah, I know. No, not at all. You just, I think we've got this. Whatever you're comfortable with, I got it too. Go for it.
All right, let's go.
All right.
All right. I call this meeting the Workforce Readiness and Economic Vitality Council Committee to order. Due to concerns over exposure to the coronavirus, the city has implemented measures to protect our community, including the closing of council chambers and limiting public attendance to electronic means only. Members of the public may attend the meeting virtually through Cisco WebEx events or view the meeting recording by visiting tempe.gov/WREB for more information. The second item on our agenda is to review the committee meeting minutes from September 27th. Councilmember Readiness Savage, do you approve or agree with our minutes?
Meetings look good. Thank you, Vice Mayor. I agree.
Great. The next item on our agenda is public comment. The committee welcomes public comment according to the Arizona Open Meeting Law. The committee may only discuss matters listed on the agenda. Matters brought up by the public, matters brought up under public appearances that are not listed on the agenda cannot be discussed by the committee. A 3-minute limit per person will be in effect. Tim, do we have any public comments?
Vice Mayor, no, we do not.
Thank you very much. Let's see, moving under section 4, current items and updates. Item A1 is TempePRE. This is Tempe's preschool program, which we've had several discussions on, and we're coming back for yet another discussion. So Tim, do we have the staff we need here to move on to that presentation?
Vice Mayor, it's going to be me. I will run the presentation. We do have staff, Marie Raymond, in the audience for questions.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much, Tim.
Get this. Okay, so this is going to be a follow-up conversation to the conversations you've had in this committee regarding TempePRE. I've put in basically the current status, recapping everything that both of you know so far on the status of the program, as well as the funding for next fiscal year. So there is funding in place for FY 22-23, which could change how quickly you want to implement anything at this meeting or future meetings. But I know that the time consideration was very important to both of you, but there is funding for FY 22-23. And I don't know if you guys have any more questions or need any more presentation from staff. I think at this point, it would be valuable to staff for both of you to kind of decide on where to go with TempePRE in regards to the future funding of it. So the items for consideration, conduct an evaluation on the current and future operational needs for efficiency and examine options for long-term sustainability and operational funding. And at this point, I will leave it to both of you.
Sure, I'll speak first and throw it over to Councilmember Readiness Savage. We started this effort in an attempt to make TempePRE a permanent fixture of the city, and I certainly hope that becomes a reality, no matter where the money comes from. As I'm sure most of the staff knows, and many people watching, the Build Back Better bill is making its way through Congress, which will include funding for universal pre-K for qualifying cities. So we're kind of, we're up against the clock as far as if we want to do something, via ballot initiative for November of 2022, which is originally my plan for years, essentially. However, it sounds like the feds may step in and fund this for us if the Build Back Better plan gets through the Senate. I certainly don't have much hope for that, but a lot of smart people seem to think that it's a real possibility. So I think, it would behoove the city at this point to just make sure that, our ducks are in a row. You have right here, conduct evaluation on current future operation efficiency needs. I think that's great. Let's make sure that we put ourselves in the best possible position to get that funding for TempePRE should it become available. I do think we should continue to have sort of a backup funding plan as well. But again, I know we're kind of up against the clock on that. So it may be while we're waiting for the Build Back Better bill, we kind of miss our window to do something in 2022. So I didn't realize we were funded through fiscal year 2022 and 2023. I mean, that's certainly fantastic. That gives us a larger runway than I had thought that we had. So, I'm comfortable, making sure that we're looking for, we're as operationally as efficient as we can. We're doing everything the right way, in the way that, we think that the federal government will want to see, if they end up, making money available to qualifying cities. I want to put us in the best possible position to get that funding. Well, I think we should keep a very close eye on that process. I know that our intergov and our federal lobbyists certainly have an ear to the ground on that, so I'm thankful for that. But for now, I think we can continue operating TempePRE as is until we have better clarity on when, and if money from the federal government is going to come into the program. That's all I have. Robin?
Yeah, thank you, Vice Mayor. I 100% agree. I think you're spot on with where we at. I would, I'm not sure where we are, and maybe we need to discuss taking it back to the council and what that looks like. I mean, at least we need to do a check-in, I would say, for sure, so they kind of know what our thoughts are, and all the times that we've had the discussion and the information that we've, asked staff to prepare for us, which has been, I think, really valuable. I've learned a lot in regards to TempePRE, not only what the outcomes have been, the positive outcomes, but the unexpected outcomes that we didn't really know were going to happen that have happened. And, that seems really positive. So, I was thinking about it too. I like the idea of keeping it the same, at least for this next year, not necessarily making any drastic changes or asking for any additional funding. But at the same time, I think we could really look at the efficiencies in operations. And I think maybe a way to do that is to kind of create some guidelines of what those expectations would be. And I just kind of wrote down some notes based on all the times, that Maria and your team have been before us. And just to tell you that we've been listening, we're paying attention. But, some of the things that kind of came up for me were things that I thought we could really discuss. The fact that we have three different separate preschool programs in the city of Tempe, and really just kind of understanding, are we leveraging and are we collaborating the best that we can, so we're all on the same page for the future. I think, as the mayor talked about operations and efficiency, to me, that would be one area I'd really want to make sure that we're sitting down with the Tempe Elementary superintendent. We have a new one, just really understand what his perspective is and what his vision is for the future, and that we're all complementing each other and we're all on the same page. I think that will totally speak volumes. Hopefully, if this Build Back Better does come to fruition, I think that'll get us certainly aligned. A couple of things that I think I heard too was, it's really it's valuable to have a blended program. So I certainly like that, and would love a little bit more information of kind of what a policy could possibly look like internally of a blended program in regards to the number of that may be full, part-time, and 100% free. That would be just something I would like to get some more information about too. And I think the one thing that I did notice too is we really haven't gotten any outside funding for operations. Is there any, stones that we haven't really unturned to make sure that we are looking for operational funding to really kind of help us keep going and stay sustainable in the future? That's one place I feel like we could definitely maybe look a little bit harder and see what's out there. And that's got to come from all aspects. And maybe we run that through the council, Vice Mayor too, and see if maybe they have any connections or thoughts or partnerships of different organizations that would partner with us in regards to operational funding. Because I know sometimes that's kind of hard to get to. And then another thing is just like policies internally is we have maybe somebody that qualified for TempePRE, and maybe they don't qualify the next year, but the intent is they automatically get the second year free. I'm not really sure if that's kind of the policy or what, how that kind of works into the system, if that's the most efficient way, or we're talking about encouraging our families to get better jobs and to get paid more. And we definitely want them to get ahead. So, it's just something I would like to see us address. And then lastly, I thought maybe it would be kind of good if we incorporate some knowledge from our own internal auditor. We get with Bill Green and just see if there's a way that maybe he could kind of help us just check that operational aspect of it. And then so when we give it back to the council, maybe give them an update or whatever that may be next steps, Vice Mayor, that, we feel like we kind of have a good handle on being as efficient as we possibly can, because whoever thought the infrastructure bill would pass, and it did. And like you said, there are a lot of people that are very confident in the Build Back Better. And I think that being on the table would really be a hindrance for us to put anything out there for a tax increase, thinking that, they may be taxed twice if that came forward. I see that kind of being something that might not sit well in the public eye. So I'm kind of with you on that. I just want to get a little bit more specific in regards to what we're looking for in regards to operations. That would be really helpful. And maybe Marie, you already know, and you don't even have to answer that now. I think that's something that we could think about. And I know we talked about the economic impact too, right? How we've been in this program for 6 years, and those kids that have already been through TempePRE, where are they now? I think it'd be great to really see where those kids are now. Are they in Tempe Elementary? Are they staying here in our own community? How well are they doing in school? I think that would be awesome to know. So I'm with you, Mayor. I'm good. At least giving an update at the very minimum to the council of kind of our expectations moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We should definitely consult our colleagues and kind of give them, like you said, kind of a lay of the land and where we're at, so that we're consistent in our messaging, to the public as a body.
Sounds good to me.
Right. You have
Vice
anything
Mayor
else?
and Councilmember, are you asking for some kind of written memo to come from this committee to the council body?
I mean, that would be my preference, just so we don't have to do it at a meeting, I mean, some of those meetings go long. I mean, Robin, what do you think? I mean, I don't care that much either way, but I think this kind of a written memo might.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I just don't want them to think that we're not talking about it, right? And I think that, with the Build Back Better Act and the fact that you're talking about that window, I think at least we got to let them know where we're at. And if we can do it in a memo, I'm fine with that too, Mayor, Vice Mayor, that's fine.
Yeah, great.
Okay, staff will draft that memo. And if you don't have any questions for the staff that is on the call, we can go to the next item.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. The next item under section 4 is item A2, Tempe Small Business Recovery Programs. Economic Development Program Director Jill Bushbacher will give us a presentation. Jill, all you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us, Vice Mayor and Councilmember Arredondo Savage. I'll just be giving a brief update about our small business recovery programs. You all may recall that in June of this year, we presented these in conjunction with our partners from Tempe Tourism, Tempe Chamber of Commerce, and Downtown Tempe Authority for your consideration. And then we discussed coming back in the fall for funding, and we've now secured funding, and we're just going to kind of go over what those programs are now. Next slide, please. So just a quick update in general on kind of the state of our small business community. There are some really good trends that we're seeing right now that are very positive. Sales tax levels, as you see, in some cases are back at 2019 levels. So that's exciting. As it relates to restaurant and bars, we were at 1.3 million in October of this year, and October of 19 we were only at 1.1 million. So we've even exceeded, not just back at it, but even exceeded in that case. And then as it relates to hotel related sales tax, it was 263,000 for October of 2021, as compared to 229,000 in October of 2019. So some really good numbers there. And then in retail, 5.4 million in October of 2019 and 6.7 million in 2021. So all the way around, those are very good numbers, but just we all have to keep in mind that while that's trending the right direction, in some cases, some of these sectors experience losses for 12 to 15 months in a row. So, but nonetheless, good news, just kind of tempering it with knowing that it's going to take a little bit to fully recover, but those are all going the right direction. As we look at kind of the trends we're seeing for return to work, we're hearing and, kind of talking with our larger businesses, talking with our partners, finding that a lot of the office workers will be returning in a hybrid model, and we're hearing some will come back first quarter of 2022. And the most common kind of arrangement that we hear of is they'll be coming back in the office maybe 2 days a week and working from home 3 days a week. So what that means to our kind of bringing that back to what that means to our small business community is that's good news because it means more foot traffic in our shops and our restaurants, and happy hours for after work, and birthday gifts on the way home, and all those great things for our small businesses, but still not quite back at the levels we were at. So, but still the right direction again. And then business expansion and attraction in general and economic development and in our business community have continued during this time. So some names you see there that are very common, and then others maybe not as well known, but like United Dairymen has purchased a building and they're adding some positions, so that's good news. Valen Mortgage is new to our city and they're adding about 100 jobs. And Oats Overnight. They're a really neat kind of homegrown Tempe business that are adding positions. They're almost 100 employees now, and they'll probably be doubling in the next year, and they're looking at expanding their space. So some really neat things going on in that way. So those are all very positive trends. So I want to start out on an upbeat note there. Next slide, please. And so when we look at, what do we base some of these programs on and our plans around, we did a survey of Tempe businesses, and this is just one of the main questions, but it tells an interesting story. We asked them, what do you most need right now? This was really about, their short-term needs, not about their ongoing, regular city services that they're looking for. This is really about their short-term immediate needs. And so marketing, as you see, ranked at the highest level, recruiting, hiring, and retention. These are no, surprise to most of us. Social media, accounting and finance, cash flow. These are the kinds of things they ask for. So as you'll see, as I get into the programs, we tried to be responsive to these, and you'll see how we've designed the programs to really relate to what we've been hearing. And these are consistent with what we're hearing from our partners and what we hear anecdotally when we talk to our businesses throughout the community. Next slide, please. And then as it relates to the Tempe business survey that the city does overall, you see that police services ranked highly when we were asked them, what did they really want the city to prioritize in this next calendar year? And economic and business development, what do you know, was ranked as the second highest service that businesses want us to prioritize. So this, this kind of generally falls in line with that we're providing programs that relate to economic and business development, because all of these programs will really help maintain and grow some of our businesses and really help them, especially those that have been struggling and challenged the most during the pandemic. Next slide, please. And I guess the other thing I would just quickly add about the city's business survey is it was more about ongoing regular services like recycling or safety or street maintenance. And our survey was that we did it as this group that's named Care Team Tempe was more about, again, the kind of short-term immediate needs to be responsive with the COVID recovery initiative funds that we have. So as a just information for everyone to know how this is being funded, the $646,000 is coming from COVID recovery initiative monies that were allocated last year by council to the economic development department. And we feel this is a good use of those funds. We were looking at doing some infrastructure and other programs with them, but we think this is a fantastic use of them. And some of those infrastructure and other programs we were looking at doing with the monies also have not come to fruition or are not moving as quickly as we need to spend this money. So we think this is a good way to allocate it to the community, as conditions have been very dynamic and we're trying to be as relevant and responsive as we can be. So next slide, I'll go into the programs real quickly. So the first program is a small business technical assistance program. So we looked at best practices in cities across the country and in our region, and there have been some really neat online platforms to help with some of those services that small businesses most need, where they can get consulting and mentoring, and they can help with those things that they listed in that survey, such as social media or marketing assistance, or advice about, kind of how to better manage their cash flow. And this helps us increase our capacity to serve more businesses as well. Being a small team, this really helps us outreach to so many more than we would just on our own. So it's kind of an exciting opportunity, and we'll be likely doing an RFP very shortly here to contract with the entity that'll provide this platform. And again, this was a best practice model that we looked at, and Mesa and Phoenix have both used it successfully. So we talked a lot with our partners there to kind of learn from their experience and make sure that we're making wise decisions here. Next slide, please. The BIPOC Micromanufacturing Entrepreneur Program, this really grew out of a study with GPEC and the Greater Phoenix Black Chamber and some other partners that kind of showed that we have some entrepreneurs of color, not as many as we'd like to see in the Valley. And but then when we do find people of color that have these kinds of businesses, oftentimes, and this can be true with anyone starting this kind of business, that they really have difficulty with some of the startup costs around leasing space or buying materials or affording the equipment they need. And then they can often use business coaching like any good startup or entrepreneur that's really trying to get their business going or trying to take their existing business to the next level. That's kind of the idea of this program. So we're working with Max 6 and with Fabric, our fashion incubator, who have lots of expertise in this space. And also Hustle Phoenix has some mentoring and coaching that they can provide. So we're excited about the partnership with them, and we think we'll be able to serve a good number of folks and help them kind of take their businesses to the next level, or entrepreneurs that have a great idea and just need a little bit of help. We can kind of help them get off the ground. Next slide, please. So everyone's talking about the need to recruit and hire workers and retain them as well. And so we've been looking at research and talking to different organizations and our businesses, and what we've come up with is we will definitely do some hiring events, and we're also looking at doing some webinars and with kind of some best practices to help our businesses that are struggling to really kind of crack the nut on this. And this is obviously a nationwide issue, as many of us know, but we think if we can work with the right partners and we can kind of look for some of that hidden talent and give some great tips to our employers about what's starting to work with some that we're seeing nationally. A couple of the trends, for example, that we're seeing is some businesses are offering daily pay, and that's helping them retain workers. Some businesses are offering tuition benefits, and they hadn't offered them before, and maybe they're offering something smaller, like with a community college, that's more affordable as a small business owner, but it's attracting or keeping certain workers. And we're having a job blizzard, which will be similar to the job monsoon that we had this last summer, which is basically a blitz, PR blitz, helping to really highlight which companies are hiring and the fantastic opportunities in our community, and doing everything we can to pull out all the stops to let folks know on our website at tempe.gov/job fairs that we're having a job blizzard, and all these opportunities are available to them. And the week of January 15th, they'll be able to go to those businesses and apply and learn about all their great benefits and why they're great places to work. Next slide, please. Main Street 2.0, this is a program that's really meant to help increase foot traffic for our downtown businesses who have had a lot of difficulty during this time because, that lunchtime crowd, that crowd that would buy a, dinner on the way home or go to happy hour or buy a birthday gift at lunch. They haven't been in the office, so many of them, thousands of them over this period. And so it's really affected their businesses. And this is an opportunity to hire local musicians and artists and provide some really neat art and entertainment experiences, and invest in some equipment and supplies, seating, shade, and lighting that'll really make these great outdoor events in our downtown and really kind of help supplement what's happening with Park After Dark and the new Sunday events that Downtown Tempe Authority has been putting on. And just to let you all know, the job blizzard again is the week of January 15th. The other programs will be rolling out over the next several months through the spring. And we're working closely with our partners and are excited to be able to kind of launch our next series of programs. We did some loan programs and some grant programs and safety supply programs last year. And so this is kind of our 2.0 version of small business programs for our Tempe businesses. And at this time, I'm glad to take any questions.
Robin, you want to go first?
Thanks, Vice Mayor. Jill, thank you very much. I mean, I'm totally super excited about this. I think it'll be really great. And hopefully, my guess, just a couple of questions I had, nothing really crazy, because I know this is kind of new. And one of the things I think that we've been talking about a long time is I'm pretty stoked about that Main Street 2.0, because we always talk about activation and how important it is to get people to really get out, kind of hopefully intermingle a little bit and just really appreciate the space that they're in. So I think I'm pretty excited about that. And of course, job fairs, I don't know much about the BIPOC micro manufacturing, so I'm just going to kind of watch that one write itself through. But the way you explained it today, I think that was even more beneficial for me. So I certainly do appreciate that. And I hope that you feel like as you kind of move through those and you see what the outcomes are, that you may have some flexibility, or at least as we move forward, that you really are keeping good records in regard to tell us what's working and what's not, because we know this is one-time funding. And if it's something that we think could be sustainable into the future, it would be really great for us to know that. Because I know, the Vice Mayor and myself both, are really passionate about ensuring our businesses are doing well and successful. And I know the challenges that they've had. So I'm stoked to see that you guys really just put together a program. You incorporated not only the Tempe team, but also the business survey and taking those into account. So not really necessarily any questions, but as you see it right through, like I said, I hope you see what's really working and maybe what's not really working, and you have the ability to be flexible with that money if at all is needed. So I'm stoked about it. And back to you, Vice Mayor. Thanks.
You, Councilmember Redondo Savage. Yeah, I just want to echo Robin's comments. This is fantastic. This is very informative. I'm glad things are recovering from the pandemic, and I'm glad that I'm proud of the way the city is trying to help our small businesses when they struggle through the pandemic, and as they come in out of they're in recovery mode, that we still are a good partner to them and doing everything we can to make sure that they're as successful as they can be in our community. So I really appreciate the work that you and your team have done on this, and it's it's certainly a very positive outlook. And I think after nearly 2 years of negative outlooks, it's certainly refreshing. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your support, and we look forward to coming to you with the great outcomes from these programs. And like you said, Councilmember Arredondo Savage, we hope to, some of them would be the kinds of programs that we may want to look at sustaining, because they'll be even more successful than any of us know at this time. So we really appreciate your support again, and look forward to coming with the updates in the future.
Great, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jill.
Okay, our next item under section 4 is item A3, supporting Tempe veterans. And Octavia Harris, our Human Services Deputy Director, will have a presentation for us. All you, Octavia.
Great. Thank you, Vice Mayor Keating and Councilmember Arredondo Savage. I'm coming back to you today to talk about supporting Tempe veterans. Wanted to bring forward information regarding a proposed full-time veterans coordinator role that would focus on serving the initiatives and programs for veterans and their families who reside in Tempe. A veterans coordinator would be responsible for focusing on, next slide, please, Tim. Sorry about that. There we go. So a veterans coordinator would be responsible for focusing on achieving the outcomes for performance measure 3.21, which is a veteran supportive community designation, which is to engage to be employers to achieve a veteran supportive designation greater than or equal to the average of Valley cities as awarded by Arizona Coalition for Military Families. Our goal is 30 and the designation achieved is 18. This position would also focus on making any changes or updates to the performance measure and help to create actions for the acceleration of PM 3.21. This performance measure includes engaging and encouraging Tempe businesses to achieve this designation. Next slide, please. current City of Tempe veteran programs that are listed here. So under Human Services, we have a few programs like the Veterans Commission, Care 7 Veteran Case Management, the City Court. We have a Regional Veterans Court for Community Services, the Veterans Day Parade and Veteran Memorial. Then the Mayor and Council Office, we've got the Community Salutes Event, the Economic Development, we've got Veteran Supported Business Designation and Veteran-Owned Businesses. Under Human Resources, there's the Veteran Wellness Programs for city employees, as well as Tempe Veterans Employee Support Group. And then Community Development, we've got the Ash Avenue Bridge Abutment Veteran Memorial and Veteran Housing Opportunities. And then under the City Manager's Office, the Veteran Appreciation Breakfast. So there's a number of initiatives and programs that currently exist that a veteran coordinator could maintain support for, and then also have the opportunity to create and support potential future programs and initiatives within the city. Next slide, please. The support of this Veterans Coordinator can also extend outside of the City of Tempe organization to liaison with the stakeholders and the community that are listed here, such as the Tempe Chamber of Commerce Military Affairs Committee, the Arizona Coalition for Military Families, Tempe Community Action Agency, which is our local community action program. It's a nonprofit, the Arizona Department of Veteran Services, the Pat Tillman Veteran Center at ASU, the Save the Family Supportive Services, Foundation for Veteran Families, as well as the Maricopa Community College District, the Rio Salado Military and Veteran Success Center, Arizona at Work, and the Arizona Department of Economic Security. So there's a number of organizations that have existing relationships that a veterans coordinator could really help to strengthen, as well as maintain and increase the interaction and collaboration between the city and these stakeholders. Next slide, please. So the proposed next steps would be to have a recommendation, a formal recommendation submitted to the mayor and council if this position is desired for advancement by this committee. And then if approved, a supplemental budget request would be included in the fiscal year 2022-23 budget cycle. Staff is currently working to develop a comprehensive job description, and we're meeting with city leadership on November 29th. Next slide. And finally, happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you very much. I think this is fantastic and fully support a supplemental request to get a coordinator on for veteran services in the city. I know this is a issue that's very important to my colleague and to me as well. So, you know, I think it's great that we're moving in this direction, and I'm sure the council would agree with us that this position is needed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Octavia. Yeah, thank you, Vice Mayor. You said it best. I think this is something that's really important. I didn't realize how many things that we've been able to incorporate since 2016, and all the stakeholders that we've incorporated, I think, into the city of Tempe, which is really amazing. And one of the things I think we noticed, or I noticed, is if we do have a coordinator, how many different departments they would actually cross over in that cross contamination, and how important it is to have that flexibility to work with everybody and ensure our initiatives and programs continue to move forward. So I definitely appreciate the support of my fellow veteran and my fellow council committee, Vice Mayor Keating. Thank you, for letting us, let us work through this and bringing this forward. And hopefully our council colleagues will also agree to the importance of continuing the work that we do for our veterans. The one thing, Octavia, as we move forward and we get this back to the council, is I really think we need to definitely update that performance measure, and because it's really just specific to one thing. And you did mention the performance measure of veteran supportive community designation, but in order to get that, there was only like one bullet point. And there's so many other things that are incorporated in the veteran supportive community designation. And it would be good to kind of incorporate those two, or find a way that we can look at what that might look like in the future. And then also where this position may sit too. I know Andrew has, you know, had a little bit of interest in where that goes. So I'm super psyched. I look forward to taking it back to the council and appreciate your work on it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you both.
Thank you, Octavia. Let's see what we got here. The next item on our agenda is committee section items, new items for consideration. There are none. Councilmember Arredondo Savage, do you have any announcements?
Don't, Vice Mayor. Happy Thanksgiving to you and to everybody on this call and everybody listening.
Well, thank you very much. Well, with that, our next meeting is January 24th, 2022 at 3 p.m. I hope everyone on the call and everyone watching at home has a safe and happy holiday season. We will see you in the new year.
All right. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.